Good morning. I hope you're having a good morning. If you're listening to this, you were given another chance at life. I hope you utilize all your chances to live to the best of your ability to survive. Yeah. All right, so give me 1 second. Okay. So, you know that America is the last greatest experiment. You know that orphans probably are the ones who are changing the world. Those who were programmed by the system to make sure the human race stays alive. And those who belong to the system, that are part of the elite or whatever, they know what the system needs. It's the lay people who are resisting change are the ones that the system has to figure out how to deal with. And so, of course, I come from Vietnam and all that, and I have my own issues with, everything, how I was raised and all that stuff. But when you think about it, that's really neither here nor there, because that was necessary. Everything that I went through as a child and even as a young adult and a regular adult was all necessary for the programming at 50. Was I going to survive the programming, or was I going to succumb to the programming? And that's what it really comes down to, is are you going to survive the programming that was given to you? And are you going to change and evolve when it's presented to you? Or are you going to succumb to the programming? And so, so I figured out that, all all Western food is necessary for survival. Now, I was raised around going to Asian restaurants and all that, and and eating the Chinese food, the Vietnamese food, the sushis. Was introduced to lumpia or Filipino food when I was, out there in my travels and all that. But come to find out, many, many, many years later, when I married my husband, that the middle American diet, the middle American blue collar food intake, Genghis Khan, his food intake was what's going to save me and those who are willing to understand the power of meat, milk, cheese, eggs, and all of that. And so when I look at the Georgia Guidestones and what they're professing in the future, maintain humanity under 500 million, and we know everyone's going through climate change. I mean, the different climates that people are not used to are coming to them versus them traveling outside of their circle. Okay, you couldn't survive on the Asian food. You couldn't. I can't survive on just Asian food. I still need meat, milk, cheese, eggs. And I'm telling you, I had so many, like last summer, I had so many ice cream sandwiches. So much ice cream every single night. Yogurt, ice cream, milk, cereal, meat. I've been eating so much deer meat, had so many pork chops, so much steak, because it was necessary to rebuild and reinforce. Okay? So, I definitely was focusing on Asian food yesterday. If you are taking recommendations from a third world country, let's say Malaysia, let's say Vietnam, let's say even China, even Japan. If someone's recommending you only eating out of an organic garden and only eating spicy food with no meat, and they're in third world countries and they're starving, where do you think you're going to end up? When you're taking on Eastern modalities, Western modalities of healing and medicine, and they both work together hand in hand, where do you think you'll end up? I don't take advice from third world countries. I don't take advice from people in third world countries starving. They have yet to even understand the innovation of what's going on. And I notice in the conspiracy world, a lot of people in third world countries are joining in the bashing of not only America, but of the West. So then you think about, oh, okay, so here we go. So the Georgia Guidestone says maintain humanity under 500 million. You know how many billions of people are in India? You know how many billions of people are in Asia? There's 1 billion people in Africa, but they have a chance to survive because they have a sturdy body. Not I'm so stocky, but sturdy body. They're eating meat and vegetables and a few spices and herbs and all that. Once they get on the milk, oh my gosh. But then when I was in China and I was in the southern part, I was only eating like dim sum type of stuff. Dumplings. Steamed this, steamed that. There was no milk on the table. A lot of vegetables, a lot of chicken feet, a lot of rice, like rice rolls, rice this, rice that. Okay. I go to northern China. It's a little bit heavier fare, like a Panda Express. A lot of sauces. Yes, you get some meat, get your veggies. Even the steamed carp with 2 different soy sauces and scallions steamed in a pot. I couldn't survive right now in Ohio. I could not survive on Asian food. So then you think about how many people are going to be eradicated in the future because of climate change and lack of nutrition, lack of diversity of their nutritional intake. When you are like 2% fat, and you have to look sexual and be fetishized by the West, then you go look at Thailand and how many Westerners go to Thailand to go take part in the sexuality stuff. And the girls, that's what they do. So sexuality, lack of food, starvation is a recipe for destruction of a whole culture. And the lack of evolution in those families, those patriarchal society of families. So even though, yeah, I'm married to a Westerner, I look like a freaking cliche. I'm married to a white man. And I look like a cliche. I'm adopting his food habits. He taught me about milk. My husband drinks milk all the time. That's why his bones are so fucking strong. When I feel his knee, and sometimes like when we're wrestling or whatever, and he accidentally kicks me with his knee, it hurts because he's strong. I got softer bones, not so much softer now, but I'm sure I had softer bones a while back. But can you imagine in these Asian cultures where they're not even drinking the milk or eating a lot of meat and not drinking a lot of milk because maybe they're lactose intolerant or whatever, how soft their bones are, how skinny some of these Asian cultures are? You think they're going to survive climate change? What did I survive on? I survived on meat, milk, and cheese and eggs, a little bit of fruits and vegetables here in Ohio with all these fucking frequencies. And I do not try to run away from pain or disease. And so there's a reason why I was brought here to America. First of all, as I'm sure as embedded experiments in family, but also would I be able to assimilate to the Western culture? Would I marry an Asian male and carry on that whole, culture of whatever and not assimilate and not evolve? Or would I marry a white male? But then, even then, what kind of white male would I be marrying? What kind of culture, practices, religion, diseases would he hold? Would I be able to assimilate with or not assimilate with? Okay? And so this last 3 years was so telltale of how important the Western diet is for survival of climate change. But they're purposely doing, not necessarily. We could speculate they're purposely geoengineering the weather, and that may be true or not true. But do you want a strong evolutionary tolerant race of people regardless of color? Or do you want little weak ones out there that any kind of adversity they have an issue with, and they're fighting demons within, and they're projecting out, saying that there's the enemy out there when they're holding all the enemy inside, can't handle evolution, have a billion kids who run all over the place, not programmed for anything specific except to consume, and destroy, and steal. System doesn't want to deal with that. You know how many agencies they have developed to control people's children who turn into adults that have to be controlled, and it's harder to control adults? That's why our jail system, our prison system is so huge, because we have so many people having children who are not programmed for anything specific and end up breaking the law. Okay, so the Western diet is so fucking important. And yeah, it's changing a little bit so we don't enslave animals. So when you have lab-created meat, lab-developed meat that has the amino acids, the fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, and no animal had to suffer to go through that process of feeding us, I understand why that side of the food supply is changing a little bit. Because the old ways of having a farm and those animals are waiting to be slaughtered is like you waiting to be slaughtered by somebody. Sitting like Stranger Things. When Hopper and all those Russian prisoners were waiting to be slaughtered by that Demogorgon. By the Russians in that show. And so we have to do things differently as an evolved, civilized human race. But as you can see, we're dealing with people who are not very civilized, not very evolved, fucking cavemen out there, who are out for blood, and if given the opportunity, which they were given the opportunity under January 6th, would go into damage to other people and themselves. And so food is so fucking important. The Western diet, because I'm telling you, any Asian food that I eat is only an appetizer. I'm hungry like, what is it? An hour later, 2 hours later? Asian food is not nutritious enough. It isn't. But again, when we have fetishized Asian women to be skinny, to be hot, sexual, go through all the plastic surgery, become someone's ornamental, ORIENTAL, to be someone's, accountant, sidekick, yeah, you give them hardly any food and play that game. And you see in patriarchal societies, women are just commodities to be traded on the open market. Daughters are commodified, wives are commodified. So when I showed you that picture of my DMV picture when I was going through that fucking crazy ass change, that probably even messed with my eyes where I was seeing double. I probably had that entity right there at the surface, messing with my vision. Oh yeah, I look like a monster. Oh my God, I look like a monster. And I'm okay with that. Because it is about survival now. This is not about attracting predators or be predatory. This is literally about survival. And what was I eating? I was eating pancakes. I was eating meat, milk, cheese, eggs, everything. So I could survive. If I had not conditioned my immune system to deal with sickness and release and be okay with the arm pain and the shoulder pain, I would have died in my sleep and drowned in my own mucus. Because I remember the last few months waking myself up coughing because some kind of mucus developed. What do you develop? 2 quarts of mucus daily or something? That's what they say. And in this environment, the mucus replicates so faster, is developed so much faster that people can't get ahead of it. and they die in their sleep. They drown in their sleep. They die peacefully, as people say. Or they have organs that rupture and spontaneously explode, and then they have infection all over the body. That's where appendicitis, ruptured spleens, ruptured appendices, ruptured everything. Kidney issues, heart issues, atrial fibrillation issues. Because they bought into, which I understand, they were conditioned to do all the exercises to look a certain way. So you have that superficial external conditioning of looking a certain way and also burning off your immune system called the fat. So then you have these marathon runners that are so skinny, don't really have an immune system, really. And in this environment, it's not the exercise and the yoga and all of the competition sports, because that is going to cause then not only resistance, but also breakage and then exposure, because you have very little fat, very little defense systems when you're an athlete. And so in this environment, it is internally conditioning your immune system to work out the muscles and build up the muscles within so you can release that fucked up demon that will sometimes get in or has been in there and then gets woken up and then it starts moving. And if you don't release it and allow your immune system to disintegrate its ability to organize, then you're going to get an entity that's going to be a growth. That's going to be something that's so aggressive that you can't get ahead of. And that's what's going on. I remember the last couple of days when I'm laying in bed, I just ate like oatmeal. I had oatmeal last night and other stuff, right? And I'm listening to my stomach just gurgling. And I'm thinking, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like when you put baking soda together and vinegar and you hear that you see the foam and you see just all that stuff just breaking apart, organic matter. That's what goes on when you finally allow your immune system to work for you, is that your immune system will break up entities that are trying to not only become more intelligent, but even more organized against you. And then you have to release the demons. You have to actually pull out the fucking demon out of your body. And again, that's not glamorous. That's not something people talk about. That's so taboo out there. You only let a nurse go and do the digital method on you. You don't do it to yourself. I've had CNAs tell me a few years ago, actually 6 or 7 years ago, when I first introduced this and I told people what I was doing, and she was all up in arms. Oh my God, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't tell people to do that, Jillian. That's so bad. And yeah, she's a CNA and she digs shit out of people's asses every fucking day. Out of old people's asses. Yeah, when you're 80 or 90 and you have a sluggish immune system, you're going to have to hire a fucking CNA to do the digital method and pull shit out of your ass. Well, I don't want to get to that point where I have to have somebody out there pull shit out of my ass. So what? I guess I got to do it myself or die from sepsis or ruptured organs or heart attacks and strokes. So that's why I extricated myself from all of the conspiracy world the last few years, because so many of them are still stuck in making sure everyone is dependent on them, worshiping them, and making themselves think that they're a fucking god, that you can't even save your own fucking self because she has to ensure her own occupation. And I was bantering with this lady way back since 2012. And as soon as I introduced the J World, you saw how shit switched just like that. It was like night and fucking day. That people have demons inside and they switch on you as soon as you challenge their fucking position, their money line, whatever. And so I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to get the fuck out of these groupthink, hive-minded people. So, yeah, food is so fucking important. And now you're going to watch people deal with the fact that they could not get those demons out. And they already see their time is coming. It's what sucks. watching all of this unfold, the way it's unfolding, and you're watching it on Facebook, and some people you know personally and others you're like, okay, I don't really have any connection with. It still sucks to watch all of this unfold and watch people be tortured by those demons within because they were told not to take care of themselves. They were told only to go see somebody else. They were told they had no capacity to save themselves. And so I have people right now that are in the J world right now that told me that, not messed with, but they tagged me in some comment. And I like this lady. I really do. I like her family, her I mean, why do you like, you don't even know them? Well, you know, you get familiar with people. I've gotten used to people hanging around and commenting here and there, and we've been through all these different, you know, activist stuff. And so there is a type of relatedness. You know, you miss them when they're not around. So, but she tagged me in a comment and she says, well, I think I need it right now. Because I remember saying it even back in 2020, well, you know, you could do an annual saltwater flush. But even then, you know what? You don't even need that. If you have to turn to the J juice for any reason at all, you're now trying to remedy away something. See, J juice is to be a catalyst, not a cure. J juice, and you already been catalyzed a long time ago. This environment, this ionic environment has already catalyzed your immune system, and now you're feeling stuff like you should. And when you're turning to J juice now, in this environment, the intention is not to catalyze, the intention is to cure. And when you're cured, eventually you'll constipate, stay constipated, not eat, not evolve, and then one day, rapture, died suddenly. So to those in the J world who have been in my world since almost day one, if you think you need the J juice today, most likely you do not. You need to eat and pull out the demons if possible. All food, not my juice, will help you in the long run, and you will need the animal protein. So I don't want to hear people playing the whole, oh, I'm a vegan, I'm a vegetarian. I can't handle those lambs because they're being led to slaughter. Just take another frequency shift, another replication and metastasization of microbes that they haven't released in their body, and they'll be taken out, and I don't want to deal with them. So I don't want to hear anyone tell me how they're vegan and fucking vegetarian, because I'm not having it. I'm not dealing with you. Okay? When you run away from pain and suffering and try to remedy away fatigue, the demons come back and hit harder because you gave them time to organize forces against you. Mother Nature is the ultimate collections agent, and she spares no expense. She will get her payment from you, even if it's just your fucking soul. And that's what's going on. That's what people are dying suddenly. They were walking around under the influence. Of course, they don't even listen to their dreams because they don't dream. They're under the influence. And so they're walking around with the dash lights off, no dashboard, no dash lights, and they run out of gas. Or Mother Nature came in and called in the loan. They had no more credit left. That's what's going on with the died suddenlies. No more credit left. They turned off their indicators. They're flying blind. No dash lights. No more gas. They're fucking done. That's what you're watching right now. People who have no gas and have failed to listen to indicators, and they kept treating everything, and they couldn't fucking change. And hey, you know, that's what they wanted. They kept gambling. They kept hedging their bets. Oh, you know, I'll do this. And then, no. See, there's ways in which you can survive this, but it requires something major that most people cannot even do. And so they know their time is coming. People know their time is coming. And it sucks to watch. She's worse than the collection agents out there in different collection agencies because she has endless resources. You never want to mess with Mother Nature. She was kind enough to give you life, but now you have to earn it. And I'm not talking about baubles and gold and currency and big houses and saving other people, because obviously you know you can't save anyone. Okay? You're in a biological reconciliation stage of the world. Lots of money and wealth and beauty will not help you. It's not. These women that are beautiful and skinny and whatever are dying suddenly. Their beauty is not helping them. Having 1 billion kids is not helping them. High sexuality is not helping them. Reconciling with your maker is a lone venture. Can you stare death in the face and still survive? It will be when you're sleeping, not when you're awake. Okay? So the times that I could have died was always when I was sleeping, because I was in a state of half asleep, half awake. And when half of you is asleep and the other half is awake, if you haven't conditioned your body to handle adversity when you're awake, What makes you think you have the strength when you're sleeping? Again, I've woken myself up coughing out mucus and choking almost on it. When I ate that turkey gristle last Thanksgiving or the Thanksgiving before, I think it was the Thanksgiving before, and I was so hungry and it got caught in my throat, I had that moment of panic where I could have died that moment. But remember, I have conditioned my body to cough, sneeze, blow the nose, pull out the crap, leverage the pressure from up here down there, and my own body unconsciously saved me from dying from choking on a turkey gristle. So imagine if you're awake and your body saves you, right? Because you've conditioned to do it. You conditioned it to do that. Imagine when you're asleep and there's so much mucus developing, because even last night, I have the heat was always been on 70, and so sometimes it goes to 71. Well, it's getting warmer out here in Ohio. And so it was like 72. I woke up so flippin' hot. Like so hot. And if I was another person with issues, that heat would cause replication. I could have died in that house, in this house, with the heat up like that, 72 degrees. Because when the temperature changes and you're not taking into account your own thermostat, and you're also susceptible to a lot of growth because of so many other issues that you have or whatever, people won't survive the growth in their body that happens overnight when they're not even expecting it. When the temperature changes that quickly and you're not accounting for it. So when I woke up sweating, going like, oh my God, I'm dying. And I know, oh, it's fucking warm outside. It's what now? 46 degrees? And before it was like 12 or 10. Well, I went down and changed it to 69 degrees. And I felt so much better. But not everyone's going to be aware enough to do that. And so they'll be sleeping in a hot, hot room, and then that growth will kick their ass. Your dreams are harbingers of doom, and they tell you if you're lucid enough and not under the influence that you're going to be facing some really troubled times. Oh yeah, my dreams were telling me a lot of stuff, what was going on, and confirming what was going on. When people die when they're awake, they were given so many warnings that they don't have any more credit left. That's the rapture in the Christian theology. Mother Nature repossesses what was hers because you couldn't pay the loan payments. You kept getting more credit, more credit, more credit. And that's going to the hospital, getting all the treatments. That's taking all the remedies. That's every single joint that you ever taken for all your neuropathy. That's credit that eventually will work against you because you're developing offspring. When I Googled, does cannabis make someone lose weight faster? And I found an article that says, yeah, people who smoke cannabis actually have a higher metabolism, lose weight faster because of all the offspring that they're developing from that cannabis is causing them to develop so much growth, currency, not feeling anything, euphoria, and then that works against them. And there you go. Because you kept getting more credit. That's also why you don't want to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, because you will not know danger for what it is, which is also why the system legalized marijuana and why alcoholics will have a hard time in this world. They're driving with no dash lights. They won't know when they will run out of gas. That's why I will welcome pain and suffering when I have to experience it. There is no pushing it off. You push it off too many times, you'll die. And that's what's going on right now. People have pushed off pain and suffering so many times. I mean, they're in the hospital 24/7 all the time. People are dying. People are dying suddenly because they kept pushing off pain and suffering and they couldn't change the way they looked at themselves in life. Open your eyes, you will see it. Just look at the hospitals and the emergency rooms filled with people who are laying the groundwork. Look at all the natural healing people laying the groundwork. All the vegans and vegetarians starving, the beautiful influencers and the workout kings and queens laying the groundwork. All you can do is just watch. That's why you don't want to work out and do all the yoga bullshit. You don't want to work out in this environment. The sickness is the conditioning so you can survive not only your peers and friends and family, but you can survive your climate and climate change. But then you don't want to be surviving your peers. You don't want to be around them too often, if at all possible. If you have to, then you better have the time to also recover being around them. And if you're not, then that's when the devil will take his due. All you can do is just watch. And so, yeah, the energy in my room yesterday was so different. The last few days, I've had to close the door to my room for whatever reason because the darkness was really moving. Like, I mean, I would see shit out the corner of my eye, dashing here and there, and I'm like, okay, I need to turn that TV on so I get that glow of the TV and cast some light, because even looking at my phone and having all darkness around me was just like, okay, that's a little weird. And I could feel even the anxiety of just what was going on with my body going through that process and attracting demons. And that's also why hauntings are so much more prolific now, because people's demons are attracting the dead world. That's what I'm saying. The Large Hadron Collider has made the veil between the dead and the living so much thinner. Okay? Like the Upside Down. You know, when you watch the Stranger Things, they talk about particles. When you're seeing particles, well, I see particles in the sunbeams. If you're seeing particles flying past you like orbs when you're on a Facebook Live or some kind of camera, you know you're attracting something. The portals are open. They're flying in and out, zipping in and out. And so the energy in my room has completely changed since the weekend and beginning of the week. When you hold demons within, you do attract the dead world. I knew there was shit going on when I was sick the last few days. The darkness holds a lot of those spirits attracted to aggressive energy in the people. Yep, your immune system will attract or repel the dead world and the demons. And that's why maintenance is necessary. So when I'm watching Ghost Adventures with my husband, and a lot of people who are afflicted by these spirits and ghosts torturing them, they're bigger people, and they're also dealing with health issues, health conditions. And when you are a bigger person, like bigger, yeah, you have so much diversity. You can't help but attract not only the living who are feeding off your energy and all of your whatever, but also the dead. And so, yeah, that's why when I was bigger this weekend, going through the DMV and all that stuff, dealing with whatever this variant that I dealt with, this demon, yeah, I felt the dead world out there. And I was bigger. Oh, that's not a coincidence. I can see the correlation. That's why maintenance is necessary. And this is from the Diassembly groups. Hi, I have a question. Worked in healthcare admin before being mandated out of a job. So she was told to get a V. She decided not to, and so, they fired her. 1 year ago, had diarrhea, a fever, and blacked out and ruptured my spleen. They picked up I have atrial fibrillation as well as I had C or COVID. Has anyone got really weird stuff and not had any? What is any? V's. She's not V'd. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but even the un-V'd people are dealing with some shit. But then you'll see the people that are V'd say, or not V'd say, oh, well, that's all from all the shedding. Of course, when you're in a world full of people, when it's highly accelerated, every single time you exhale, you're releasing your demons. Of course, when you sneeze and cough, you're releasing aggressive demons. But right now, this air is so heavy and laden with Pandora's box that no matter what it is you do or do not do, you're going to have to reconcile with the loans that Mother Nature gave you. And so what did I say in response to this? You see, even the unV'd are having issues because they have poop in their system that's stuck in their colon, causing aggressive growth, and then the body forces something to release because the immune system is desperate to release those demons. People have organs and vessels burst because aggressive growth, sluggish release process, and then resistance and breakage. She had diarrhea because the body was desperate to release. My husband had explosive diarrhea at one point, so did I. Sometimes you can't make it to the bathroom. Sometimes you just have to shit right then and there. And that's not always fun, but sometimes it happens because of an energy conversion. She had sudden diarrhea out of nowhere because the conditions forced the bodies to activate. And then, of course, it's a chain reaction of events. Cardiovascular issues, ruptured spleen issues. Aggressive growth could cause organs to rupture and burst almost spontaneously. People get sepsis and appendicitis and die from infection. Growth happens that quickly in this environment. That's why you pay attention to your immune system and you condition your body to cough and sneeze and blow your nose so you don't have shit stuck in your body causing infection later on. And that's what's going on right now. You also don't want to drown in your own mucus. Spontaneous spleen rupture is a rare clinical condition that should be considered in patients hospitalized in internal medicine clinics for infectious, hematogenic, and metabolic causes, and in those with sudden abdominal pain and hypovolemia. Ultrasound and CT scans are used to establish the diagnosis in most cases. Nothing is spontaneous because there's always a catalyst, but sometimes you're not even aware that there's a catalyst. It could be your friend, it could be your family, it could be just that wind that blew a certain way and caused the growth to happen. You don't know what kind of triggers people have, and in this environment, it's anybody's guess. Even food can trigger shit happening. Oh my God, why? Because it's immune system activation. You kept pushing it off. You kept trying to cure it. You kept trying to starve it. Oh no, believe me, when something is starving, it will find the food, even if it's you. So nothing is spontaneous per se. It's all relative. But because you're not aware of it doesn't mean that something isn't catalyzing it. Something is, you just kept pushing it off. You're under the influence. And so even the unV'd are dealing with some shit. Literally. So then I had to own my shit here. Now, I wasn't looking for people to make me feel better. I wasn't feeling bad. I had to put out there a declaration that I was also part of the depopulation agenda. I was groomed for it, not only to be sexual and hot and be also smart, but to also sell you whatever was currently being sold and promoted on the market. And so back then when I was in the insurance industry and there was all these MLMs like prepaid legal and all the different insurance companies, there was also the Melaleuca and all the supplements industry, and of course all the energy healing people, and then the holistic world, and then all the detoxes and the herbal remedies and all the tinctures. I mean, okay, so I had my part in the depopulation agenda and I tried to get out of it. And I was in that process in the beginning of the J world where we brought up all the different situations and people and then tried to silence them again through garlic oil, colloidal silver, and all the different remedies and supplements and borax and boron and all that. And you saw that journey. Some of you have been around me long enough to see what I went through. And so I have to own my part in the depopulation agenda. Not that I want people to say, okay, it's okay, Joan, you didn't know. I know I didn't know any better. But I still have to apologize. I still have to own my part in all of this. Okay? And so again, I apologize to everyone who I recommended remedies to. It was not my place to recommend anything to stop your body's ability to release. I am so sorry I took part in the holistic world. I am so sorry I took part in the medical, traditional, medicinal world. I am so sorry I tried to save people from pain and suffering. Because we were taught this, and then we learned through the last 7 years, and even from the Federal Trade Commission, from the government agencies, from the OAG, you're not supposed to take away people's pain and suffering. That's meant only for a doctor who would then figure out if it is worth it for that person to go through this process if they don't die from the remedies. And that then should tell you that all remedies are deadly, but the system will say, well, this is less deadly than this. But all remedies are deadly. And that's what people have failed to understand in the holistic world. Every single fucking remedy, every single time that you recommend something to somebody because you want to take away their pain and suffering is fucking deadly, and it lays the groundwork for then a die suddenly because they don't have the conditioning to handle the climate change and their own microbes attacking them. And so people, yes, do die in their sleep because of the lack of conditioning, the lack of tolerance, and of course the lack of fucking food. I am so sorry I set your ass up to fail in the future. I am so sorry I thought I had the power to take away your pain. I'm so sorry I took part in the hive minds of always chasing another fucking cure, herbal remedy, and whatever else is on the market. I'm so sorry. I recommended supplements to strangers. I had no business at all in your medical profile. I'm so sorry for recommending you to take aspirin or ibuprofen for your headaches and other issues. I'm literally sorry for my part in the destruction of humanity. And so when people are trying to make me feel better, they're trying to make themselves feel better. It's not that they're trying to make me feel better. I don't feel bad, but people do feel bad. But they'll project and be like, oh, Jillian, it's okay. Okay? Nobody can save anyone. People must save themselves. Even the doctors can't save you. Even the naturopathics can't save you. I'm sorry I recommended vaccines when they were out there a long time ago. I'm sorry I told you not to take a vaccine. I'm sorry I thought I had a say in your world. I'm so sorry. So here's my changed behavior. Let the fucking ship sink. And I will just point out all the casualties and where it all came from. And I will still own my part in everything. And I don't care if you own your shit or not. Because people will deal with whatever choices they've made and recommend it to others. What I'm not sorry for, I'm not sorry for activating your immune system. I'm not sorry for waking your ass up. I'm not sorry for the J world. I'm sorry I tried to put your ass back to sleep through the remedies, colloidal silver, garlic oil, and whatever, but I will admit that mistake. I know where I fucked up, and I corrected my shit, literally, I corrected it. And I had help from the government. Thank you, Federal Trade Commission. Thanks, OAG. Thanks, trolls. Thanks, moderators, for putting my ass through the ringer. Thanks, all you influencers on YouTube that torture the fuck out of me. Hey, whatever. I survived it. And I'm still here today, and I'm giving you guys an opportunity to figure out whether or not you can handle the pain and suffering of life. And if you can't, you always have the medical, holistic, energy healing world to take away your pain and suffering until it died suddenly. There's always that option. And so lazy immune systems will cause the body to work against you, not for you. People have conditioned their own immune system to be lazy. Oh, but they work hard for the man and their friends and family. Your priorities are fucked up. Especially when you have trained your kids to be lazy about their immune system, shoving elderberry syrup and cough suppression and mucus drying agents down their throat. And then when they get so bad, you have to get machines to suck out the mucus because you never trained them to protect their own immune system. Or you take their tonsils out. That's their first line of defense. Why do you think they have infection all the time up there? Because they have to cough and sneeze and blow their nose. When you have a kid that has all the infection in the tonsils, well, just to lay there and let the infection overtake them is going to cause then the person to require surgery because they're not doing anything to protect it. They're not coughing. They're not sneezing. They're not blowing their nose. So what's the system left to do if you can't even protect yourself? Well, they have to keep taking out your organs bit by bit because you don't have a defense system. You haven't trained your kid to cough and blow their nose. You haven't trained them to do shit. And they're not eating correctly. They're intolerant to pain and suffering. They're intolerant to everything. One day, something's going to get in that can't get out. And it will, oh God, that's why, even people's kids are sitting ducks. They have no gumption to work for themselves, only for somebody else. If you cannot condition yourself to cough and sneeze and blow your nose to release the mucus and the demons below, all the mucus pools into the areas when you go to sleep and people do not survive the night. That's why you don't take antihistamines. That's why you don't take cough suppressants or pineapple juice. People drowned in their own bodily fluids because they've disabled their immune system, their body's immune system. And this environment causes excessive, accelerated, sudden growth. Your immune system must be on point to handle this climate. And so inhaled fluid can act as an irritant inside the lungs. Even small quantities can cause the extrusion of liquid into the lungs, pulmonary edema. Even the following hours, this reduces the ability to exchange the air and can lead to a person drowning in their own bodily fluid. And that's also going on. It's never too late to teach an old dog new tricks. Do you have faith in the old dog? Mucus is produced by goblet cells. Goblet cells, right? And in the membrane of the throat sinuses and lungs, the throat and nose glands typically produce 1 to 2 quarts of mucus per day. Excess mucus that builds up and drips down the back of the throat is called postnasal drip. And that stuff burns too. Postnasal nasal drip can cause a feeling of congestion, a sore throat, or a cough. Environmental triggers such as allergies, cold weather, or dry air may cause post-nasal drip. So you imagine when the environment changes overnight and you're sleeping and you haven't conditioned your body to cough shit out, yeah, people fucking drown. People drown. Now, I guess if you're going to destroy a population, might as well do it. And might as well condition them never to feel anything. And then give them all the distractions, all the love and light, and all the family, and all the entertainment, and all the food. Okay? Well, you need food. But what goes on is that people are just so used to pleasure and paradise that they have no idea how to deal with adversity. They were never trained to. And then you have the hospital system just right down the street, so they have machines to suck out everything out of you if you can't do it. And so then you condition that person to depend upon machinery until that machinery can't save you, because you'd have to be able to survive that moment when shit changes. Just like the police can't save you from any kind of situation. They can only come after the fact and take the report. But you better survive the situation. If you can't survive the situation, it doesn't even matter whether you call the police or not. But it's good to have a report to establish a pattern. But you have to be able to survive your immune system and the events. You have to be able to survive your neighborhood, your neighbors. You have to be able to know danger for what it is. And if you don't, it's not going to matter what the fuck you do. You won't survive the events. It won't matter, again, calling the police because you won't be around. It won't matter, again, calling the doctor, the cardiologist, the ENT, because you won't survive the next time around. Or you won't survive at all. And so this person said, my best friend of 25 years, also known as Sammy, passed away peacefully in her sleep. It's not peaceful. Sammy, I'm going to miss you so much. I don't want to read that. And so my methodology is basically a biological exorcism that you oversee yourself. There is nobody out there who can do a biological exorcism on you without harming you in the process. And that includes surgeons, that includes therapists, that includes anyone that you've invited to stick their nose and their knives into your business. You hire mercenaries for the system, you'll end up just like them. Just make sure you weigh out the pros and cons if it's even worth it to you, going through this type of evolutionary change while you're still alive. Some people would rather die and hope they come back in a different form. More power to you. Thank you for your service. You have to be ready to semi-retire when you are in my world. I pretty much retired. I retired. I would say I really retired, but I pretty much am retired. And I'm working for my husband. And I work for my community in this way, giving information so people can figure out for themselves. And it's not really for sale. This is all for free. I have a book, yeah, but even then, this book was like, what, back in 2020? And so I still have a certain perception of how I saw my parents and society and all that other stuff. And also I mentioned like the Georgia Guidestones. But I also mentioned the Rosicrucians. Okay? But I've evolved even from this, but again, I'm not going to write any more books until 2030 because I have to see how everything plays out. There's still so much more evolution, and it happens so quickly, and there's so much more information to be had that I don't want to write another book and be like, oh God, I got to write another book. So I will leave this the way this is, and people can pay attention to the real-time shit that I'm doing today. And so you have to be ready to semi-retire when you are in my world. You can't have the same life you had before. You would have to be ready for the next evolution, or people hedge their bets, which is why Generation X will be the pioneer in the next world. We are the variables. That's why Twitter is called X. Elon Musk is Generation X. Alex Jones, Generation X. A lot of your different young senators and whatever and congressmen, Generation X. A lot of influencers out there, my peers who are dealing with shit, Generation X. It is our time. Are you going to survive, or are you going to succumb to the programming that was forced on you? Okay? So Generation X is the smallest generation sandwiched between the boomers and the millennials. We will be the fulcrum. We will be the ones to direct and redirect. Because the millennials are going to follow their boomer parents. Boomers are on their way out the door unless they know how to redirect. Silent gens are on their way out the door. Gen Z and Alpha, remember, they came from Generation X and Boomers and all that, and even some Millennials. And if they've been trained by Boomer grandparents and Millennial parents, then what kind of future do the Alphas and these Betas have? It's anybody's guess. We are the variables, Generation X. And so, yeah, I believe in transparency. I have nothing to hide. Survival is ugly, brutal, and not very sexual. When you're going through these painful bouts, you have to want to survive and release that demon without putting a strain on your heart or your belly. Because maybe you're not interested in eating, but you know there's a fucking demon down there that needs to be released. But you can't afford to strain. So that's why you have the power of your nose to leverage the bottom portion of your immune system. Right up here can leverage down there if there is clear communication. Taking anything over the counter or natural way puts strain on those vessels, and you could actually harm yourself using anything in the medical and holistic system to release that demon. Even my juice will constipate you in this environment. I don't recommend using enemas because then you get dependent on contraptions and the body does not have the ability to release when it needs to when you're asleep. Because I remember even farting in my sleep and not realizing that something needed to come out, and sometimes you can't even trust a fart. I've had a little bit of accidents here and there because the body had to urgently release something that it didn't have time to go to the toilet. Luckily, I had still the rubber sheet underneath. But I don't have those issues. I fart and air comes out and that lets me know there's something up there, and then I go get it out, at the toilet and all that stuff. So the medical and holistic system fucked you up through their intention to make you dependent on them to release. Because maybe you won't survive between the time that you get a situation and your appointment or emergency protocols. That's the danger of depending upon licensed professionals. They can't be with you 24/7, helping you eliminate demons. You're not going to have a priest sitting in your house 24/7. You're not going to have a doctor or naturopathic sitting next to your bedside every single time they see you move. Think, oh, is that a demon that needs to come out? No. You have to be the one to save yourself and train your body to save you itself when you're asleep. That's when people die, is when they're asleep and the body does not have the conditioning to release when it needs to during an emergency situation. And so coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose will be the leverage points to release the demon down there along with your digits. The demon, your stool, the system made sure you kept in through their protocols. That was your programming. They did not want you to mess with the programming because then you'd figure out how to survive their bullshit. Every morning I'm releasing that demon because in this environment, it is destructive. And my body knows I will make sure it's released. My body trusts me that I will make sure I take care of it. That's why I'm in good spirits, okay? And there is no shame in this game because I'm still alive today with no diagnosable conditions. And I've been through hell the last 3 years. If I was anyone else dealing with what I dealt with the last 3 years, I would have already had chemotherapy, I would already have cancer, lymphoma, or had a surgery, or be suffering, taking another freaking remedy. And further causing and laying the groundwork for a die sadly in my world. And getting bigger and bigger and bigger, or starving myself, as you're seeing out there people are doing. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, or they're starving themselves, or I would have succumbed and gotten health insurance and let them just experiment on me. Any other person would have gone through chemotherapy or other types of operations. If I hadn't done what I've done the last 7 years, I would be another cancer patient suffering. And so this lady asked a question. And I've seen her on my Facebook. I haven't really talked to her. But she was polite. She asked, well, how do you really... Because I said, this is the demon. I showed you a picture of my DMV picture. And this is the demon. I released the demons. And this is what I look like today after releasing that demon or yesterday. And you saw a vast difference. I didn't look so bloated. And I noticed that before, even the last few years, every single time I would get an infection that would come up and make me all bloated and all like... And then after I release the demons, then my face goes back to looking relatively normal. But this weekend was even more aggressive than before to warrant you seeing what I look like in my government picture. So I get to see that demon for 8 fucking years. Okay? And so when she asked me how I released that demon, well, it wasn't something that just happened overnight. It wasn't just I pulled out the crap that day and then that demon is gone for somebody else because they're trying to compare what I'm doing and think they can do what I'm doing. I had 7 years of not only information gathering, but the last 3 years of implementing what I was doing and taking notes of what I was feeling. And I had to pull back from society. I had to stay home and stay safe. I had to have my husband's buy-in because he had to watch this. Okay? When you're married to someone, when you're in a relationship with someone, when you're friends with people, and you're now saying, I'm not treating my disease, and they're so fucking scared for you, you have to condition them to understand that you can survive this if you think you can. People don't know if they can survive not treating their disease. They don't know. And I couldn't tell you if you could or not. I just know that I'm type O, blood type O positive. I had PMDD, no major surgeries, no major addictions, no major trauma. And I'm pretty strong. So every single time I felt a new variant come through or whatever woke up inside, I was able to handle it. Okay? And I fed it. I figured out the food was the answer. But see, that's me. And then I went on to say, I said, Faye, it is a conditioning process of pain and suffering. First of all, you have to eat all food. Second of all, you have to pull out the crap in your immune system. Literally, you have to dig it all out when you can so you can give your heart a break so you don't get hemorrhoids straining so hard. You have to cough and sneeze and blow your nose. And if you have a heart conditions, you have to let your doctors know because you might get a heart attack. Because the body will jumpstart pushing that sticky, viscous fluid through your bloodstream. You have to condition that because your blood vessels... Oh, crap, I got to read this one. Oh, God dang it. You know what? I'm not reading that portion because I'm going to go to the other one. Sorry. Give me 1 minute. All right. I just got to read the comment. You have to eat all food. Second of all, you have to pull out the crap in your immune system. Literally, you have to dig it all out when you can so you can give your heart a break so you don't get hemorrhoids straining so hard. You have to cough and sneeze and blow your nose. That's why people get blood in their stool because they're straining so hard to get that crap out. They're so constipated. And the stool is so hard and so hard packed and so sharp and dry that it actually perforates or puts holes in their rectum, and then they start bleeding. And that's why sometimes their stools are black, or sometimes that comes out bloody, and that's why you need to, obviously more fiber in your diet, but also the milk, and even find ways to dig it all out without you trying to strain to do that, because you'll end up either getting a heart attack or a stroke or hernias, or even harm your intestines. And if you have hemorrhoids, I've had hemorrhoids before. I had almost everything: yeast infections, hemorrhoids, UTIs, rashes. It's bad. So let me read this. You have to cough, sneeze, and blow your nose. And if you have a heart condition, you have to let your doctors know because you might get a heart attack because the body will jumpstart pushing that sticky, viscous fluid through your bloodstream. You have to condition for that because your blood vessels may not handle that type of situation, which is why you have to deal with all disease with coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose. So you'd have to sit through the headaches and feed it all meat, milk, and cheese and eggs and deal with blowing your nose so much as you can and sleep when you can. It's a messy, sometimes bloody process because you might have nosebleeds. Oh, I did. And it's painful when you would have to feel bloated and look ugly for so long. Sometimes people can't even move because that demon locked them up. Neck pain, arm pain, head pain, leg pain, horrible dreams, horrible nightmares, insomnia, aggressive behavior. It's no picnic. And some bouts are worse than others. And you'd have to want to be out there. You wouldn't want to be out there too long in the public picking up more things. And it also is retroactive healing. It is actual healing of bringing everything up. Hives, rashes, armpit pain, body leaking fluids in different places, seepage. It's messy. It takes time. It's smelly. 3 years of this, I've been dealing with this off and on, and it gets better. as time progresses. I don't treat disease. I eat everything. Even heartburn happens because sometimes I just eat raw cabbage. Some people's situations are worse than others because of predisposed issues. You have to look in your background to see what you can handle. Some people will have curses of psoriasis and open sores. Not everybody can handle the process. It's not for the faint of heart. Swollen belly, swollen face, swollen arms, a lot of hives. You have to mentally prepare yourself to look extremely ugly and not very sexual. Your partner would have to buy into it because he would have to watch this. She would have to watch this. It's a very aggressive process. For you to do this, you would have to have a really good reason why you go through so much hell. Because what are you planning for the future? This process could get in the way of your current successes today. Or are you willing to plan for something in the future once that horrible process of evolution is easier to manage? Okay? That's the thing. It's a matter of where are you in the scheme of things? Are you successful right now? Are you riding that wave? Would doing something like this get in the way of your successes, get in the way of you taking care of your kids, get in the way of certain things that you are required to fulfill? And if you don't, everyone will be starving. Okay? That's what you're going to have to weigh out. That's why I say if you have kids, give them the option of not taking on so many responsibilities of taking care of other people, because it will be just hard enough to take care of themselves. And some people are locked into situations they can't get out of because they have kids dependent upon them, they have parents dependent upon them, they have a whole company of people who are depending upon them. And if they disappear to go and take care of themselves, that whole company, the family, everyone would then be lost. And that's a lot of crazy ass responsibility. And you would seriously have to be getting paid a whole lot of money to give up your life for everyone around you. It would have to be really worth it. And so if you're already behind the 8 ball and you're already trying to keep up with everyone around you and you know you can't because it's just for so many reasons, you're in the prime position to retire or semi-retire so you can finally take care of yourself and live to see the next world as others are closing out the old world. And make sure they get paid handsomely for it, because they will be the human sacrifice. Someone like me, who I've already had to fight uphill battles, who basically had nothing except for strategy. I knew how my husband could really make himself better through my strategy, through his capacity and his strength and his potential. He could have the best life that he wants, have the best of almost everything. Yeah. I mean, I don't live in North Canton or any rich area, but it's pretty peaceful over here. We don't live in the ghetto, and we don't live in the rich area. We are living within our means. Okay, so he can have the best boat, the best friends, the best of everything in his world, and I don't get in the way of that because I know he is sacrificing himself so he can have all his stuff, and I'm just helping him get to those points, but also in the process saving myself. Okay, and so yeah, the whole J world is not for people who aren't ready to retire. When you think about it, and it's better to retire and quit when you're ahead than when you're on your last hurrah and you may not even have. When you're in hospice, don't even attempt this. See, people hedge their bets and they wait till they're in hospice or they get some diagnosable condition and they don't have the conditioning or the capacity to deal with pain and suffering. That's what also people are facing, is they wait till the last second at the 11th hour. And again, when you're gambling with your life, it's quit when you're ahead. Cut your losses. Sickness is immune system conditioning for survival, especially during climate change. Why are athletes dying on the field? Their bloodline was not conditioned for sickness. They never conditioned their immune system to handle climate change. People were conditioned externally, conditioning their muscles to look hot and sexual and to perform extreme feats of superhuman power, such as the Olympics. But that was not a reality that would last forever, especially during climate change. Just wait. The sports industry will be a dying industry the next 20 years, if it isn't already. So when you have football players and marathon runners and ex-sport stars and workout kings and queens and all of these hot chicks that are trying to look skinny and sexual and selling you supplements and speed them up type of concoctions so you can get more done, yeah, that's a dying breed. And in this environment, it is exponential. It is what you're doing on steroids. If you don't realize that, yeah, the pharmaceuticals can be very extremely influential. But now you're taking the natural remedies, and this environment is no different than a pharmaceutical in the old world. Pharmaceuticals will be more deadly in this world, and herbal remedies will just be as strong as the pharmaceuticals. And so that's why people are not surviving their treatments. Because they don't even know the world they live in. They're in resistance and denial. Okay? And so in this environment, I internally condition my immune system to release the demons and exercise my heart via palpitations and eating food and clearing the pipes by leveraging my upper and lower immune system. The old world was external conditioning to program you for something specific. In this new world, you must understand fitness and diversity comes from within. Not out there having big pecs and a flat stomach and a six-pack and big muscles, because that will work against you. The athletes are dying suddenly. Workout kings are dying suddenly. It will just be a matter of time before the body cannot handle any more of that stress of resistance training. When you have never conditioned your immune system to reinforce itself, extreme exercise conditioning is causing heart attacks in older people, younger people, and even those in between. When my immune system is turned on through eating and different times of the day, my heart beats faster, and sometimes I sweat. And then when a microbe gets in and causes a major upset, my immune system is conditioned to push it out the different parts of the body. That's conditioning for survival. The gym is conditioning to look like whatever is socially acceptable in the old fucking world. Exercise is deadly on people who are not conditioned to survive, because they have an immune system, because they've had immune system helpers and therapies from the medical and holistic system. The old way of eating light and exercising is deadly, taking years off people's lives. And then when you have so much muscle and not enough fat, resistance causes breakage, heart attacks, strokes, aneurysms, and broken blood vessels. And so intense exercise can increase heart rate, blood pressure, and adrenaline hormone levels, which can lead to a plaque rupture, precipitating a heart attack. He recommended we should know our risk factors for cardiovascular diseases and have them addressed with appropriate medical advice if you're going to go into sports. And so these mothers are forcing their girls and boys into soccer, football, swimming, and all the different aggressive types of situations. And they have predisposed issues. And of course, people are afraid of food. They're eating all the organic, really skinny. You really think they're going to be able to survive the next 20 years when everything is working against them, even their own family? Going to the gym. So yeah, we have people who are obese out there. They've gained 22 pounds. Okay, they know they're obese, and okay, so they're aware of that. No big deal. So they gained 22 pounds last year. Well, yeah. When you're around people, you're gaining microbes causing replication and faster in this environment. So now you have even more diverse colony forming units of offspring that you're going to have to figure out how to deal with and reconcile with. And so what are people turning to is the gym and starvation. So when you have so many offspring in your body and they're eating you out from the inside, and you're starving yourself of food, only eating salads, and you're trying to exercise your immune system off, yeah, you're just a heart attack waiting to happen. That's the deception of going to the gym in this environment. Before it was acceptable, right? It's accepted. Yeah, you go to the gym. See, the slower frequencies, if you gain a bunch of weight, you go to the gym and you don't have too many things working against you, then yeah, you lose weight, you look cute, and everything's great, and no one's really following you, and then maybe down the road you have a heart attack or a stroke, and no one thinks anything of it because, oh, it's their time. Right now in this environment, you will see correlation will equal causation. Starvation and so much intense exercise will cause people's life force to be diminished and usurped through that energy conversion. And so going to the gym and pulling the demons out, getting sick, have different levels of reprogramming. Okay? So my workout is when I get another fucking variant that I got to deal with, and I'm having the heart palpitations. I'm feeling the arm pain. That's like doing, like curls. I'll tell you, I was in pain the last few weeks. My arms were in pain. Okay? But now they feel great. Now they feel strong. And I never had to go and work out, but I worked out internally versus work out externally. That's the condition of survival. That's the whole Olympics is programming people to do superhuman feats, and then they expire down the road. I'll say, so the gym does not condition your immune system, it just brings you closer to death, winding your clock down. Food and release by conditioning your immune system actually strengthens your heart when it needs to beat and push the clots out the body through all the openings. Again, they close up their openings except for the ones they rely on daily. And I sweat daily because my immune system is working out. I work out internally, not externally. I could be working out internally and be laying in bed and feel the sweat come on and then disappear. And if there is something in my environment that I have to push through, I can even feel even my lymph nodes move. I felt my inguinal, my groin lymph nodes move by itself. I'm not alarmed. That's what's supposed to happen. The gym was a deception to weaken the superficial humans that have to look a certain way. The gym just makes the demons of intolerance stronger and more deceptive. The gym causes you to lose life force, not gain it. If you must lose weight, guess where the aggressive weight gain is rooted in? Your colon. That even colon cleanses cannot do anything for you. Not even the saltwater flushes. They'll just cure and constipate you. Conditioning to take control of your immune system requires food and leveraging your nose and your lower immune system to release. But since I know how many people are intolerant to even understanding this, they will take the shortcuts and then wonder why nothing has really changed. And so all those therapies are temporary and will make the demons within even more aggressive and deadlier. And see, here's the thing, even those out there, when you have a lot of weight to you, being out in the public is not helping you. Being out in church, in large groups of people, in diverse groups of people, when you are obese and you're trying to lose weight and you know there's shit going on in you, going out there around people are making things worse. You're compounding the issues. But again, when you're chasing money, wealth, fame, and power, and prestige, and you put food on the table and you can't do it any other way because you haven't strategized how you're going to survive even your child and everyone around you, people are going to still do the same thing over and expect a different result, and I don't know what to say. Nothing. So not only were women taken down notch by notch through her sexuality and family, but Asian women were also a target because they became fetishes for the Western male. Asian women became a cliche for the Western male. You need to save yourself, Asian women. Stop buying into the plastic surgery, Botox, diets, and of course, big families. Honoring your elders is one thing, but repeating their mistakes is a whole other ball of wax. And I know I look like a cliche because I married a Western white male, but he is tolerant enough to allow me to spread my wings. Would I get the same respect from an Asian male in a patriarchal culture like Eastern Asian? And that was actually a fluke. I left it there. Nope. Old worlds have little tolerance for evolution. That's why I'm very disconnected from my own culture of Vietnam, because I have nothing in common with the old world. So here I am. I might look Asian, but I'm not your cliche. America was made so cultures could evolve and discard the old world. Some people forget why America was developed. It's not something you own. It's an evolution. It's a way of life. It's the land of opportunity. People take that shit for granted. Climate change is going to fix you right up. All right, so why else do you think the Georgia Guidestone says maintain humanity under 500 million? Because a few billion are Eastern Asian countries and they are starving during climate change. When the winds of change blow in their world and their direction, no substance to withstand energy conversion. That's why it's going to be anyone's guess how third world people are going to survive climate change. Afraid of meat and milk, and of course, many women want to look skinny and sexual. Well, go to Thailand, go to what is it, Nana Plaza, right? Where all the Western males go and hang out, find girls and do whatever, okay? Or have so much protection they are smothering their vital organs. It's not hard to destroy certain people who can't handle change in the climate. Because they shout it. The people who can't handle change, they shout it from the rooftops how they are intolerant to food. They think food is poison. It's not difficult to destroy a culture who likes to starve themselves and, of course, highly sexual. 4.75 billion people. The continent of Asia covers 29.4% of the Earth's land area and has a population of around 4.75 billion as of 2022, accounting for about 60% of the world population. So if you put together Northern Europeans, even Middle America, discounting the coasts, up against starving third world countries, who do you think is going to fucking win? Don't take food advice or food advice from starving nations. It doesn't make sense. America, the last greatest experiment, a melting pot of diversity. We get to see all the variables of all cultures mixed together and see which culture has the best way to survive the climate's changing. Right on. Thanks, husband. Thank you, Ohio. Thanks, Silicon Valley. And remember the trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Beautiful women are everywhere, but beauty does not always mean balance. If you've watched the trial and even his recordings and her recordings of each during their altercations, she was no picnic, neither was he. Don't let beauty deceive you into thinking a person is safe. Don't let ugly make you think they are safe or not safe. This is why you must release those demons so you're not attracting the hive minds out there. You can see the attention in people's words and their emotions and also what they're selling you. Discernment will get better when you can realize the deception within you. What are you selling to people? That's why I like repelling people. I attract the right kind and I repel the right kind. So if you're reading this, thanks for being part of my world, even if you don't respond to anything that I'm doing. And so what foods have the diverse nutrition? And I do not eat spicy food. Italian. I eat spaghetti a whole lot, especially when I was PMSing back in the early 2000s. And I would sit in my apartment and I would make a pound of spaghetti, even top ramen. And that's what would save me. Even the last few years, I would always have spaghetti on hand. Italian food, Mexican food, English food, American food, Northern European country food, African food if they can find the milk, Middle Eastern food, Greek food, Asian food like Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, other Eastern Asian foods are appetizers. They're not full meals. I would starve eating in Asian third world countries. Japan is not a third world country, but I could not live on just raw fish, veggies, and mochi, okay, and rice. Fat is the immune system. You were never told this because the system wanted to control your immunity, used you as a pincushion. So I'm not impressed with your 2% fat. You're starving, and you're exposed, and your immune system is shot. Overprotection is also deadly. So those who say the Western diet is deadly because of obesity, yeah, all the Eastern modalities of stopping someone's immune system from releasing cause this. Eastern and Western medicine are the bioweapons. They work hand in hand. And so becoming a woman is great responsibility. Staying a girl is easy. Just claim love, ignorance, and show body parts. All is forgiven. Eve was conditioned to embrace the discipline of aggressive sexuality and starvation. The war on women continues and shapeshifts. How do you depopulate via consent? You get to the mother. She will ensure all the practices of self-destruct by staying relevant, feeding into the greed to fit in and resist. Adam just became her minion. Adam had no mind of his own because he always took cues from his mother, sister, or some other mother figure. Adam was easily manipulated. It will take a woman to change the world. It will take a woman to destroy the world. Choose your own adventure. Women will make or break their world. Like I said, it was always a mother. It will always be the woman who allows someone to build her up or destroy her. And then I said, those in Asian countries are starving, devoid of diverse fatty acids and sugars and amino acids. I would not take advice from anyone in third world nations. Sorry. Western food is what has kept me alive and going, not Asian food. Asian foods are full of spices and lack of diverse nutrition. Diverse nutrition is only found in the Western food supply. It is not found in the Eastern food supply. Though Eastern food supply is starvation. That's why people in Asian third world countries are so skinny and starving. Even some parts of India is starving, vegetarian, so many spices, and then all the tantric sex stuff, kundalini. Maybe North Korea has more diverse nutrition. Probably not South Korea. I just look at the leader of North Korea. He has a lot of substance. But obviously he may not be managing it correctly because he has his own issues. Again, milk, meat, cheese, eggs, sugars, and salt has kept me alive through all these viruses, microbes, whatever you want to call it. If you do take advice from those in third world countries, okay, please do not complain when you lack the necessary defenses to keep you alive during climate change. Some of you who are gaining so much weight very fast and have blocked up immune system and you are full of shit and you can't use those things in the market to force your body to release because you could harm yourself. Okay? Releasing those demons requires a conditioning process that only food can help you sustain the conditioning process. Third world countries are starving for a reason. They lack nutrition and they are starving. I would not take advice from someone who is starving. I am Vietnamese and I do not eat Asian food predominantly because I'm not trying to starve myself. I eat what my husband eats, and his food intake and choice of foods saved my ass. He's the one that taught me to drink milk and ice cream to save my ass. Instinctively, I knew his culture would save me. And so I am so grateful I connected myself to him. Look, I'm in here, Canton, Ohio, and it is predominantly black, white, right-wing, and meat-eating people, and a few Hispanic. And so I'm around very strong cultures, extremely strong cultures. And so if I want to survive, I have to be able to survive the strong culture and become a strong culture. And so I'm so grateful I connected myself to him. I'm so grateful I was open to another culture and belief. I'm so grateful he did not stay on the J juice. He used milk so he could take care of his constipation after drinking my juice a few years ago. That's when I discovered the power of milk. I will never only eat Asian food ever. The Asian fare food is starvation, slow starvation. And just because some Asian countries live to 100 doesn't mean shit, because everything is relative. I'm not trying to look like the Walking Dead at age 100, which is why I do not adopt Eastern modalities of holistic medicine, much less Western modalities of medicine. I am not the Walking Dead. I'm not advertising people become the Walking Dead. I won't become a cliche for anyone. I'm not trying to target anyone specifically. I just look at lifestyles, belief systems, and cultures and offer my observation. Some people are starving and they don't know it because they've embraced the discipline of starvation. And so then all of you who are blaming the food supply that is poison and only eat organic, that's your demons talking to you and starving you. And then you have been hired to destroy your audience through starvation and psychological operations. You had a hand in all of this too. The system used you to destroy you and your family. I'm sorry, but those who only eat organic and vegetarian are fucking starving. But they want you to keep going until you have nothing left. And then your audience sees what happens when someone is starving is eating only vegetarian. They project and die suddenly. Eating only from your garden is not enough, especially in a very diverse, dynamic world. And if you don't see the merits in processed food, you're one of those who will be an example of what not to do. And you can see the intolerance because people are starving, are projecting. If you want to live, you have to have something negotiable. Weight and fat is what gives you something to negotiate with. Too much weight smothers a person. Not enough weight, you're open and exposed. You must be able to fluctuate with the environment. And so embrace the predator within you and the monster and then release it with respect. That was what I dealt with this weekend. I didn't attack what was going on in me. I just embraced it and just dealt with it. And so my world, the J world, is embracing the physical states of constant evolution in a dynamic environment, not resist it. Resistance is futile when it comes to biophysical survival in microbial world wars such as this. The whole point of my world is surviving each evolutionary sequence without the fear of needing to treat everything after the fact. After the fact of any event is too late. You already survived it. Treating anything after the fact just makes the next time around deadlier. People lay the groundwork of their own demise and then blame somebody else. They wind their own clock down. They mischaracterize their symptoms and, of course, refuse to change the way they do shit. If I survived the last demon possession, I will survive the next one. No reason to treat anything. People shoot themselves in the foot with all their treatments and food mitigating diets, and so when the next evolution comes around, they're much weaker and then die suddenly. I guess it has to happen close to home for you to see the proof if that's what you're looking for. Sometimes that's all it takes. Somebody close to you, and then you finally see correlation does equal causation. People wind their own clocks down and full of diverse microbes working against them. I see it because I've experienced it. If that's what it takes, I hope you survive your experiences. And so Audrey's saying some of the evolutionary sequences have been absolutely terrifying. But here we are on the other side of it every single time. Yep. And I said, yep, waking up to what could have been a stroke or drowning. Absolutely. And so that mycoplasma in you causing extreme weight gain or loss or extreme weight gain are the demons you're fighting. That's the possession. Okay? So extreme weight loss is possession. Extreme weight gain is possession. Some people don't even realize they're fighting the battle inside and they are communicable, but you would never know it. I kicked out that demon. You saw it in real time. You don't want to look beautiful I don't want to look beautiful if I have to look ugly to survive. That's why it's dangerous to compliment women, especially in this environment. It is aggressive. Those demons in people are aggressive. If I had not released those demons, I probably would have some kind of cancer or lymphoma or fast-moving growth. That's my immune system. My bloatedness is my immune system working for me. Looking bloated, feeling bloated is my immune system. Being beautiful in this world is deadly because beautiful girls are everywhere and deadly and dying, keeping up with the deadliest standards of beauty. I've never had a restriction on my driver's license ever. That was the first time. And so I'll go to Lens Crafters this weekend and see what they have to say. Okay? And so here's the thing. I also have to apologize for something. All right. So remember when I said, oh yeah, here's the Jilly Juice girl. So I advertised a model from Peru as the Jilly Juice girl. I've advertised some of the long blonde-haired girls on my Facebook in the Jilly Juice world and advertised them as the Jilly Juice girl. I just randomly picked people that looked aesthetically pleasing to the general population. And I made people feel bad because they didn't look like the Jilly Juice girl. Oh yeah, I fucked up there. I know, and I'm sorry for that. I really am sorry for that. Yeah, that was being a victim of being a victim of the programming. I can't be a victim anymore to the programming of social acceptance, of standards of beauty. I apologize for being part of that. Holy shit. Okay, so when women start looking skinny, sexual, and hot because the frequencies and hives in their bodies help them lose the weight faster, they are so ecstatic, not realizing that weight loss will age them quicker. I avoid complimenting women on their looks, especially when they are advertising weight loss. Major weight loss and sexually appealing pictures is one indicator of grim things to come. We have been conditioned to applaud starvation. Yes, you look gorgeous today, but what happens next year when you lose even more collagen and fat? So I also see women that are even my age or older who have lost, who maybe gained a little bit of weight the last few years because it happened. And then now they're losing weight rapidly. And their eyes are a bit more slanted, like up, and they have more of a defined, chiseled face that is, aesthetically pleasing. And so their friends are saying, oh my God, you look so gorgeous. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. You know how deadly that is to her? Because now she will then work so hard to keep that image going so she can keep taking those compliments. Because what would happen if she starts getting bloated and looking bloated? Those compliments would disappear, and then people would be like, well, what's wrong with you? Let's say she doesn't post any pictures of herself, right? And then they see her in real world, and she's bloated. Yeah, that's the psychological program of destruction of women, is complimenting them when they look socially acceptable, and then not complimenting them when they don't, and or then women don't post any pictures of themselves lest they be judged, and someone says you look beautiful or you don't look beautiful, or then no one would say you don't look beautiful, but they don't want to put that out there, and if they do, it would be heavily filtered, heavily doctored, or far away shots, so you really can't see what's going on. And so I avoid complimenting women on their looks, especially when they are advertising weight loss. Okay? And so we have conditioned to applaud starvation. Yes, you look gorgeous today, but what happens next year when you lose even more collagen and fat? On the flip side, skinny women with facial skin stretched tightly over the cheekbones getting Botox injections is also a sign of grim things to come. I avoid complimenting women, period. I post pictures to show you how my face changes when I go through different evolutionary stages, not for people to say how gorgeous I am. Ask yourself the question, what are you encouraging when you must tell people they are beautiful? I would rather look ugly and monstrous and survive than to live for compliments and die. If I have complimented you, I am so sorry for encouraging those superficial behaviors. And I have. I said, oh my God, your family is so beautiful. And they are. Hot girls, hot guys. They fit into the socially acceptable paradigms of skinny and angular and heavily made up and all that. And it just made the programming that you can't change from that even more cemented. Oh yeah, I've had a hand in it. I'm so sorry. I really am so sorry. I will not personally judge you or your appearance with adjectives to make you feel any sort of way. It is not my job to make you feel good or bad. My job is to self-express on my Facebook and make observations about everything I see without pointing anyone out specifically. Complimenting men and women is targeting them like predators. We have been trained to do that. And so when these people from third world countries come in and they start just liking all my pictures and saying, hey, you look so beautiful, you look so this. Yeah, it is aggressive, it is predatory. I block and delete because I know what their intention is to basically cannibalize the image and try to get into your world in some way. Or why else would they do that? Oh, Jillian, they're just being nice. No one's benevolent. Come on. It's time to grow up. No one is benevolent. Everyone has an agenda. You just got to figure out what it is. And when it's your looks is what people are focusing on, then that is an insidious programming that will carry over into third world countries where girls will be targets for men that are looking for that type of look. And then these girls get victimized, they're forced to get pregnant and have a bunch of kids, and then that's where the suffering sustains itself. And so I'm so sorry for being part of that. I really am. It feels horrible when someone says, I look beautiful that day or any day. I do not want to live up to that or live for that. It is self-destructive. Again, if I have complimented you or your family, I'm so very sorry. Learning how to relate to my fellow humans will be a challenge. So I just stay on my Facebook, post pictures and comments, or make light jokes. Complimenting women and children and men caused so many eating disorders and destructive beauty regimes and impossible expectations. Complimenting women is deadly to women and girls and develops predatory instincts in the boys. And I know I fucked up when I advertised all the hot chicks as Jilly Juice girls, okay? Okay, I know I fucked up. I really did. I'm so ashamed. So again, the fucked up standards of beauty develop such deadly habits and expectations. I'm so sorry, Jilly Juice World, for my part in the destruction of my own gender and humans. I remember when I posted pictures of you guys advertising models and filtered pictures as healthy and desirable. Again, I am so sorry. I really am. Okay? So my info My info, this is the last thing I'm going to say, for the most part, are for those who have extricated themselves from the hive. Not entirely hive-minded, but may still harbor hives of opposing forces, but are still in the process of releasing those demons and building themselves up. Hive-minded people depend on family and friends to give them validation and existence. Hive-minded people make up most of your society. Gen X, some of you are not buying into the hive minds. Some of you have a chance. Walking away from family and friends and politics, religion, science, hives, and groupthink takes an extremely self-aware person to acknowledge they are enough. And sometimes walking away is not possible because the hives will attack them and bring them back physically and psychologically. If you are lucky enough to be single or married to someone who understands your point of view, you have a chance to survive this great exorcism, because we are in a great exorcism. Okay? So, yes, when you finally face the demons within, you're not going to look beautiful. You will have erratic behavior. Some behaviors will be more predatory and more aggressive than others. And that's why the system was not prepared for the J world 7 fucking years ago. Because they had your demons under control, relatively under control. But they were coming out of control, and that's why now we're in climate change. But, yeah. And so, you'll have to figure out what you'll be able to handle. And you're going to have a long discussion with your family, with your friends, your occupation, even your doctor, to figure out if it's even worth you trying to retire from the old world and venture on this journey to the new world that will be very painful, aggressive, and some people may not even survive. And I couldn't tell you who they are. So now is the time to take inventory. Now, if you are well enough and you have an infrastructure to help you through this process, take a risk. But again, talk to your doctor. Talk to the people that you are around the most, because they will either make you or break you, especially when you have so many people influencing you around you. That's why I lessen all the influences. It's only my husband and myself, and then my Facebook, and block and delete. That's it, and my government. My husband's influential, but not so influential where he will destroy me. Because he's now seen that I've survived every single fucking variant that would have taken me down and put me in the hospital. He has never had to put me in the hospital. He has never had to do CPR. He has never had to have a welfare check on me. He has never had to deal with that. And I won't let him deal with that, because I will take care of myself. Okay? But I think he sort of sees it. But even if he doesn't see it, he understands where I'm coming from, or he respects it and doesn't get in the way. Okay? And that's what it will take, is when you lessen those that are trying to destroy you from being around you all the time. All right.